Hey guys, how's it going? Twigs here. So yeah, it's been a while since I've posted any content. It's been a while since I've spoke with you guys, so long time no see. And I will cover that in a stream because I wanted to talk about why I've been gone for a bit in the streams, because streams feel like more of a personal you, the viewer, and me kind of setting where we can just chat and respond to one another. I can't really get in a personal level of a video, so look forward to my next stream where I will communicate where I've been. But for now, I want to jump into a video called Genshin Impact just lost a lot of players. And I want to do Tectone's reaction to it because I want the perspective of the person that the original video comes from, but I also want Tectone's opinion because that way we can kind of just feel where he is from a content creator's point of view. Well, someone who gets in depth with the game since he did play this game for a very long time, and also the point of view of the person that's speaking the original videos from, because they're going to be laying down, I think, a lot of facts. I've only watched a minute of this video, so most of this video is going to be kind of new to me. So before we jump into this, hit that like and subscribe button. It helps me out. It definitely helps with the community that I'm trying to build here, that I have been trying to build here, and so on and so forth. So definitely hit that like and subscribe button. Feel free to check out the original content creator, Genshin News, and definitely feel free to check out Tectone and his content. So shout out to them. So let's jump into this.
First, did not just do this. Ouch. What?
The Pro version 3.7 and people's receptions are
Oh, this is about 3.7? Yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking about the main topic of this video is going to be update 3.7, because I remember watching the live stream for this video, and when I saw that the update was going to center around nothing but the TCG card game for Genshin Impact, I will be straight up, I was like, oh no, we can't be doing a update centered around nothing but the card game, because who cares about the card game? I, as a player of Genshin Impact, a person who's done quite a bit of content for Genshin Impact, I didn't care about the card game. I never cared about the card game since it came out. I only played it for a bit, and then I was like, this isn't it. This isn't it, Hoyoverse.
I mean, I would say people's reaction and reception to 3.7 has been nothing short of lukewarm. But at the same time, that's pretty crazy that now all of a sudden these TCG patches don't get players excited, because isn't that what the self-proclaimed Genshin community has always wanted? They always say shit like, casual. You only don't like this because you're hardcore. But isn't that just kind of crazy how now they're flip and switch because now they have an alternative? And it definitely wasn't a case of Stockholm Syndrome where they just wanted to blindly accept everything, casual or hardcore, just because that was.
And he's touching on a really good point here. I remember that too. I remember when the card game came out and people who played the games casually were really into it. Well, really into it. They weren't really into it, like he's saying. Everyone tried it out. Like I said, I tried it out. I know Tectone tried it out because I remember watching his content about it. Everyone tried it out, but eventually people just fell off of it, and there's a reason why, and they're going to eventually get to it here. And like I said, I watched a minute of this.
Now that there's an alternative, oh my! Now how picky we are. It is pretty crazy, because the reality is that I've been predicting this shit from before, but nobody wanted to listen. It's ridiculous. Don't get me wrong. The worst part about all this is I think the TCG is the best mini event and spin-off shit they've done for Genshin Impact. But now that they're doing a whole patch dedicated to it, people don't like it. That's crazy.
For your information, the reason why people aren't that excited is that because the theme surrounding the version 3.7 is about TCG, and people don't really like playing TCG.
Wait, the people didn't really like TCG? Really? But when
I don't think they did.
They were telling me how incredible it was. I mean,
That's because they were just happy to have something different. But it turns out
the TCG for about 2 weeks, and then I realized every deck felt the same because there wasn't that much diversity. And I said I think the TCG will get better the more sets they add. It was kind of like the same thing with Hearthstone. It's fun for a little.
Yeah, and that's what he's kind of touching on, is when I tried it out, and a lot of people said the same thing. A lot of the decks felt the same. And there's a reason for that, is because it's centered around your actions in the card game are centered around a dice roll. So every deck is going to have to accommodate to try to mitigate the RNG to the dice roll on top of the RNG of hoping that you draw the cards that you need. So when you got RNG on top of RNG, every deck is going to be centered around trying to mitigate how much the dice roll affects your turn. So if every deck's doing that, it really doesn't matter. The only difference really is going to be what are your main characters that you're using in the card game. Are you building a deck centered around Ayaka? Are you building a deck centered around D-Luke, Fischl, so on and so forth? But most of the cards in your deck are going to be centered around mitigating the effect the dice roll has on your turns. So that's why every deck felt the same. So that's, like I said, that's why every deck feels the same. Everyone's just trying to make sure the dice roll isn't screwing them over.
Bit on base set, but it got better around like Journey to Gadget Stand, right? Where like they added like mechs and all that stuff, because the reality was it was like you ran 25 copies of the same card no matter what deck you ran, and the only thing was different was the heroes that you were added. I think that 3.7, if they add a lot of new cards to the TCG, does have potential to change, but it's not going to change if they only add new heroes. They need to add in more like class specific, you know, like only these cards can be used.
Yeah.
Those cards, like
Yeah.
give more.
What makes card games interesting is making sure the RNG is just limited to what your next card is going to be that you draw from your deck. But what makes card games interesting is that I'll use Yu-Gi-Oh! As an example, is that there's so different many types of monsters, and then there are so many different subtypes of monsters. So you have your typical types like warrior, winged beast, dragon, wyvern, technically it's called wyrm. And then you have your subgroups like that they're going to be in the name, like elemental heroes. Crap, I can't think of any off the top of my head. Mermales. If I could think of them off the top of my head, I would be able to throw them at you. And so you would have the types, and then you would have the subtypes, and then you would have what your, obviously the type and the subtype would determine how your extra deck would be laid out, and so on and so forth. There were a lot of elements to Yu-Gi-Oh! And you could make sure your deck was centered around what type of and subtype of monster that you're building with Yu-Gi-Oh! With this card game of Genshin, it's just about my 3 characters I got, and then the rest of my deck is centered around mitigating the dice roll for the RNG dice roll.
Variety where it's not just the same deck reskinned with a new character that's the same shit. Not to mention, the moment you realize the OTK combos, it gets incredibly simple. And that game got net decked meta horde very quickly, but such is the life of electronic card games, because the reality is people want to get to the best deck as quickly as possible. So no, I don't blame anybody for net decking, but that is the reality of what they were doing.
People are reasoning many things about why they didn't really like it.
Alright, let's read these comments. The version 3.7. Boring preview. Yeah, 3.7. Okay. Ain't no way y'all making the TGC the main event. 10 people like TGC in the whole community. ISTFG. I never touched the game called... I never touched this game called TCG. Even they added Ayato. I'm assuming Ayato's his favorite character, and others. I just don't care. Good luck to the whole part of the community that play the game. Ain't nobody playing this goofy ass card game. You really want people to stop playing 3.6. Second part was so dead, but nothing at any of the versions compared to this low. If you care this much about TCG, make it a standalone game. Let's keep going.
The version 3 boring review. Oh my god, no.
Okay, he's doing the same thing I did.
Ain't no way y'all are making the TGC the main event. 10 people like the TGC in the whole community. I never touched this game called the TCG, even though they added Ido and Ito and others. I just don't care. Good luck to all those who play that game. Ain't nobody playing this goofy ass card game update, bruh. You really want people to stop playing. 3.6 part was so dead, but nothing at any of the version compares to this low. If you care this much about the TCG, make it a standalone game. Now that is an idea I could honestly get behind. I think the TCG should be a standalone game. If it does, if Hoyoverse really does want to give it legs to stand on, yeah, make it its own thing. I think that would be fine. I would play it. I would go out of my way to play that shit, even if it was an entirely separate client. Because I think the base structure is there. It's very similar to Pokemon, but right now it's just the only thing that the game is lacking right now is depth. It really is.
I can agree to that. I can agree to that part.
Depth.
It's lacking depth.
In my opinion. I don't know if you all agree, but I just feel like there needs to be more before it truly gets its foot in the door, because there's just so little right now, and the bad cards are really bad and the good cards are too good, where you almost have to run the same deck no matter what. And when I say you almost have to, no, it is quite literally that. You have to.
A, is that because TCG is supposed
filler update. Well, I'll be
It's
real.
100%.
I feel like almost every update is a filler update, to be honest, right? Because the reason...
But the thing is that this update, trust me, there have been updates that 100% felt like a filler update, like the Labyrinth Warriors update from when we were going through Inazuma. I don't remember what that update was, but that update actually added stuff. The Labyrinth Warriors was actually a good game mode event. And it added Surumi Island. So there was shit to that update. The problem is that the narrative, the story, everything around that update, other than Labyrinth Warriors and Surumi Island, everything else felt like filler. And then the same thing goes for the update for 3.6. Didn't really add anything other than a decent story with Nahida going to cleanse this dragon. Everything else felt like filler. I did this story with Nahida cleansing this dragon, and then I was out the door. Everything else, like I said, just felt like filler. And this is the epitome of filler, because it's not adding anything other than a story centered around a card game that no one cares about.
Why is when people call a Genshin Impact update a filler update, well, that's just bullshit, because the reality is, and I'm going to say a take that a lot of y'all might not like to hear, Genshin Impact is just a filler game, right? So when you complain about filler updates, well, what do you want them to add that would make it a non-filler update? Maybe an island to walk around on and collect the...
What I agree with him halfway. I think that what I consider filler is anything that's not pertaining to the main plot line. The main plot line consists of the traveler trying to find info about their sibling and more about the Abyss Order, the Fatui, so on and so forth. Things that are centered around the main plot. That is what I consider stuff that's not filler. Everything else that doesn't at all pertain to that plot line, I consider filler. It's like watching anime. You know when filler is filler because you know it's not pertaining to the main plot line. If we talk about Bleach, everything that didn't involve Ichigo dealing with the villains of a particular arc, like with the Espada arc. Anything that did not pertain with moving the plot line forward about Ichigo trying to take on the Espada, trying to get Orihime back from the Espada because they kidnapped her. Because there was a filler inside that arc, and it was just him getting sidetracked dealing with this one dude who happened to be in Hueco Mundo. That was filler because it didn't move the plot forward. This arc dealing with a card game is not moving the main plot forward, so it is filler.
A couple chests in quest for like a minute or two. I mean, the reality is that's just stalling, right? I mean, if you want to consider that filler, that means that you're going to go somewhere that's not filler, that is canon. But the reality is, unless you're playing story, right, and there will be new story in 3.7, people don't have the right to bitch about it because that's what they said they wanted. You've heard that for years. We don't care what the game's like. We just want more story. Well, 3.7 has story, so obviously I'm thinking people's gears are starting to turn and realize, oh yeah, maybe that end game we said we don't want, maybe the reality is that people want that a little bit more than they think, hence with the case with amazing game feature options like Forgotten Hall, Chaos Memory, and Simulated Universe.
Yeah, and to touch on what he was saying with the story, when people are saying, if there are those group of people that are saying, we just want story, I think what he means to say is it's clicking in their head, besides the fact that we want actual gameplay. It's clicking in their head that they're like, oh, well, we want story, but we want story that actually pertains to the main plot. We don't want shit that doesn't involve the main plot. And yes, a lot of the stuff that people want in the game is to kind of keep us interested. And remember that we're talking about a video game. We want stuff to keep our interest. The card game obviously is not something that is a main interest to the community as a whole for Genshin Impact. What people are realizing that they're playing a game, what better way to keep our interest than gameplay that's interesting? And like he's touching on with Honkai Star Rail, there's Simulated Universe. That's a weekly rotating game loop. And I would be honest, that's one of the things I love from Honkai Star Rail, and I'll get to that because that's something I've been definitely getting into. Simulated Universe is a cool game mode. Forgotten Hall, it's basically Spiral Abyss, but there's more stuff to it. There's more floors. It's cool. It's Genshin Impact needs, like I beat this horse till it was just non-existent. It needs more gameplay, more consistent gameplay loops.
And Honkai Star Rail, because little modes like those give people a taste of what their accounts can do. And
100% agree.
Maybe they
I 100% agree with
this. But right now, it kind of feels like the inevitability that I was forewarning people about is coming, but nobody wanted to listen. They said, oh no, this is what we want. We want more mini games. Are you sure? I'm not so sure about that.
Free and optional pet content. So why
Oh, that's right. The anxiety of Endgame. That is very true.
are they making it into a main topic this time?
Anxiety.
Point B is that
I
people
remember
didn't play
that.
Genshin because of TCG. Genshin Impact is an action RPG first and foremost.
No, it's not. No,
Yes, it is.
It is not. No,
It
it's
should
not.
be. I'll
It's
beat you
a
halfway.
story game and a waifu simulator first and foremost.
All right, I halfway agree with you. It is classified as an action RPG game, and it should be an action RPG game. But he is also right that it is a story game, because story makes action RPGs interesting, and it is a waifu simulator. But it should also be an action RPG game. I will agree with you halfway, Tectone.
Thus said by the devs, because that's what they heard their community saying they wanted. It's the truth. Dude, how many complaints about the end game anxiety have we heard? It is
but
not
that was
an
BS.
action RPG.
That was BS.
This is what people were asking for. This is legit what people were asking for. They said, we don't want all this stressful end game stuff. We want to be casual and fun. That is a casual and fun update. This is actually jarring to me. This is actually a legitimate problem. Because what happened, guys? Like, hold on. Am I nuts? Or this update should be praised by what they said they wanted a year ago. They said they want more casual stuff to do. This is the casual stuff they can do. So I don't get where this whole disagreement is coming from. I mean, shit, maybe I'm wrong, but type 1 if this is what they were asking for, type 2 if it wasn't. But this is everything that I only heard what they were asking for the whole time. So why are we all up in arms now? I don't get it, man. I don't get it, because there was an opportunity to get everybody on the same page, but we just did we not see the writing on the walls? I don't understand.
It was what. It's like a case of that's what they were asking for, and he's talking, the people that were asking for it is the side of the community that does just want a casual game. But what they're realizing is that, well, what if that casual gameplay, what's going to happen when they realize that casual gameplay loop gets boring and they don't have full control? Because when you're dealing with a heavily RNG dependent game like the card game is, you don't have full control. So there has to be a balance of control. There always has to be usually a balance of everything. And so they're realizing that, oh, this is kind of boring. There's nothing going on. The story is not pertinent to what the main plot is. This just feels like 100% a filler that I would see in an anime. I'm losing my reason to care. And they're realizing that they're not even playing the same game that they signed up for when the game first came out. And so you lose your interest. And so then it should, at least a good chunk of those people that were asking for this are probably realizing, oh, wait, maybe I want a story that's pertinent to the main plot of the game. Maybe I want a gameplay loop that ties to the actual core gameplay, the core gameplay loop that should be involved with the gameplay, the mechanics, the battle system that's already in place of this game.
If I had to say, statistically, it's like 80 to 20 here. 80% people did not enjoy the TCG and hating the 3.7 main event, and the minority, the other 20% players, enjoys it.
Oh shit! This girl's doing what a lot of the casual gameplay, the casual part of the community hates. The casual part of the community hates when you bring facts in front of their face. I don't believe it. It's all lies. That's what they'll say.
As we all know, we all are anticipating.
I just want to clarify one thing right here. 97.3685% of statistics are bullshit. So just want to let y'all know, even though there's a pie graph right here, this is complete bullshit. And unless they actually show the raw data, it is complete bullshit. Unless there's a live poll, it's complete bullshit. Speaking of which, why don't I just go ahead and do one right now? No means you don't with it anymore. Yes means you still actively play it and enjoy it. 89 11%, 88 12. So it's, it's close to the old 80-20, but not so close. But yeah, I mean, that's not all players.
Based on his poll, it's pretty close. It's close. It's 7% off. This graph. But it's 7% off to what the graph was already leading to.
Fontaine is right around the corner.
Yeah, dude, Fontaine. You know what's really going to solve Genshin Impact's problems, guys? A water level. Everybody loves water levels. So good. Like, water levels are universally celebrated. Everybody loves it, man. I mean, just think about it. You know what level everybody loves? Ocarina of Time, the Water Temple. Everybody loves that shit. Just
I remember that shit. That was such a fun temple.
It's so good. I mean, dude, Super Mario 64. Everybody loves Dire Docks, man. Or, dude, Banjo.
The problem, this is such a side tangent. water levels are because water, everyone knows that when you're in water you move slower, and everyone hates anything, especially when it comes to video games, when things slow down. And unfortunately, in water, like in reality, water slows you down. That's why when in Metroid Prime and Metroid Prime Echoes and so on and so forth, in all the Metroid games, you celebrate in your head when you get the gravity suit, because the gravity suit makes you able to walk normally underwater. I remember in Metroid Prime when I got the gravity suit, I was like, yes, thank you. I can now move in water and not be encumbered. Slow down.
Joe-Kazooie, Clanker's Cavern. Everybody loves water levels, man. Everybody loves water levels. Nobody likes water levels, bro. Like, please, God, don't make underwater being a huge mechanic. Just let the game be the same, but you're underwater and you have like a bubble around you where you can sprint and shit.
I mean, we even got the leaks about it. So 3.7 and possibly 3.8 are going to be a filler update with nothing to do, and Genshin just decided to use one of the features, which is a TCG to fill up some stuff.
I'm confused when people saying there's nothing to do in Genshin, like it's something different. There's never anything to do in Genshin. There's never anything to do. Like, for longer than like 15 minutes a day, there's nothing you can do. Like, why are we now all of a sudden being up in arms and it's not a hardcore game that you have to play, right? Like, I just don't get it. It's like, bro, this shit's like a pancake. This community's so flip-floppity. Holy shit, just get on the same goddamn page, man. Exploring takes a lot of time, though. Every single Genshin update, I have completely finished all exploration in less than one stream. So the whole exploration thing being a whole thing is like, the problem is that exploring something is only fun one time. Like, once you go into an area, once
relatively
you
true.
Chest, what else is there to do? There's nothing. So that's why exploration being the main content is very dangerous, because it has zero replayability. And the most important things for games is like the replayability. And you can say, Kappa, that I didn't explore everything, but I truly did. Look at my map. I can go on, you know what? When I go on Genshin Impact 4.0 when it comes out, because we're going to see how good Fontaine is, guys.
He is right. What you can't think of exploration at its simplest level. Once you explore something and discover it, you can't discover it again, because it has been discovered. And you don't say rediscover it, because that's silly. Once I have gone into a cave, got the chest and other rewards that might be in it attained, that's it. If I go back into that cave, there is nothing there really for me, because the chest has been looted and everything else has been put into my pocket. That's it. So that he's right on the exploration point. It's just, that's it. And don't get me wrong, exploring is cool. Discovering stuff is fun and cool. That's part of the draw of Genshin Impact. But you had to add another layer of replayability, and that was the combat. And for some reason, Hoyoverse just doesn't want to double down on its combat system. They're seeing that marketing to the casuals has its limitations. Don't get me wrong, you got to market to casuals, because that you need that accessibility. You need to grow your community. You need to grow your player base, because this is at its simplest layer, a online service type of game. But you also got to make sure you retain players, and by creating replayable gameplay loops, that is how you try to retain your player base. And they do this to a certain level by having ways to attain rewards with the events by making building your characters. But once you pretty much, like myself, have built your characters to a level where they're pretty much at where they need to be, you have to create another gameplay loop. And events is not going to do it if the event isn't interesting. We're seeing that with update 3.7. The event is completely uninteresting. So what is there left to do? Build characters? Well, my characters are pretty much built. Introducing new characters, that's only going to get you so far. The Spiral Abyss, that only twice a month. That's only a twice a month thing, and I do that in roughly 30 minutes on the first day. Well, what if you created, and this is going to blow everyone's minds, a weekly rotating game mode that is kind of like a roguelike that you kind of have in your other games like Honkai Star Rail, like the simulated, I don't know, we could call it the simulated universe, or just rename it so it fits into the Genshin Impact world, and just go with that. That's a weekly rotating event. It's fun to do. It's rewarding. Why don't we go with that? I don't know.
We'll see it. I mean, me personally, I don't want to do it, but people keep asking me to check out Fontaine, so I will. I'll check out 4.0.
I'll be definitely playing Fontaine too.
I will do what is required of me because I'm just a good guy, right? I'm just a good guy.
So what do you guys think about version 3.7? Will you play TCG?
Nope.
Or are you just going to skip it?
I skipped it.
You know what's crazy for me is that I have this whole new perception of Genshin. I'm okay with it being a casual game. I truly am. I think the 3.7 update being majorly focused on the card game is actually like fine, right? I actually have no problems with it. The only thing I have a problem with is like the pancaking that happened.
I'm only fine with it because I feel like this is a opportunity for Hoyoverse to realize what their player base is truly interested in. And the card game not being something that the card game pretty much flopping is hopefully a red flag for them to realize, okay, this having an event centered around a card game is not it, bro. We need to, and it shows that not a lot of the players are interested in the card game, so maybe we need to refocus on other aspects of our game.
And the overall,
I want this to be a learning
maybe
experience.
it's just one video.
So that's it for today's video. Bye!
What are the comments saying? The thing is, I don't even hate the TCG. It can be really fun. It's just not my thing, I guess. I'm excited for story content and character interactions, though. And don't forget Charlotte specifically said she was investigating some hidden conspiracy during the event, too. Could be more lore. Exactly. There could be story. Me, who's going to enjoy the character interactions and the story. Yeah, you know, there might be a story. Man, whatever. I'm excited as hell. What I always waiting for usually. Hangout event, new teapot map, new character skins. Thought it was just because of Honkai Star Rail releasing. My friend list is almost dead. As a Genius Invocation TCG lover, I'm excited for the new event. If those don't like the new event, they can just skip the whole quest. Even videos on these, every comment is always just like, no, I'm very excited for absolutely everything. I just don't even know what to believe anymore, man. I just don't get it. I really don't.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that the casuals and people that are just, there's always going to be that minority that just wants to jump in and say, oh yeah, this is fine. But when the hard code facts, the code hard facts are presented, obviously that's not, it's not true. It's not true to the data. And we saw from this girl's this Genshin News, I think that was the name of the creator. We saw from her data that 80% of the community, or the people that she polled from, were not interested, and 87 of Tectone's community is not interested. That's some hard data from two different parts of the community. And based on from a lot of things I've seen from Twitter, from Reddit, a lot of people were not interested in 3.7.
Get it? It feels like so botted, right? And then all of the look at this. So then all of the comments that are negative are upvoted the same amount, but are at the bottom of videos. Like, look at this. I haven't even started the TCG. Upvote 3, but instantly downvoted. Skip, instantly downvoted. I destroy Genshin Impact and I play Star Rail instead. 3 upvotes all the way at the bottom. It's like there's like this ravenous group of people that upvote anything saying Genshin fine, Genshin good, and then downvote anything else that possibly is going against their Genshin. It's so weird. Like the idea of like frustration and like not being
And that's the thing. You can't, if everyone's going to be a yes man, nothing will be improved when we're faced with a issue where things are obviously wrong. Because if you're just surrounded by yes men, where people just want to say, oh no, everything's fine, nothing will be improved because, well, everyone's saying it's fine, but obviously something's going on. What can we do? Everyone's saying everything's good. So what's going on here? And then we're just in a stalemate of no progress being made because the people that need to make the decisions, but obviously being the developers at Hoyoverse, don't know what to do. Because obviously there's a problem, but the people that are vocal are saying everything's fine. We need to be constructively critical. Constructive criticism is not negativity. It's saying, hey, this is the problem. This is what I suggest you could go. This is what I suggest you can do to improve. Therefore, we can maybe make progress and make the game better. Constructive criticism is always intended to make things better. Anytime you hear constructive criticism, you know when someone's being truly negative. Constructive criticism is always coming from a good place. And that's always my goal. Is to always find a way to improve. If Genshin Impact is doing a great job, I will tell them that where they're doing a great job. And their overall main plot, the narrative, the main plot of the story has always been really interesting and really good. The gameplay has always been, the core gameplay that is, has always been really good. It's just that they need to double down on it. If they double down on the core gameplay loop, I think that they will find progress. Having an event centered around a card game, yes, was a good place to test and see if the card game is worth diving into. It was a good try, but like I said, I want this to be a learning experience for Hoyoverse. 3.7's failure in making an event centered around the card game, that's a learning experience. Their failure is never true failure if you can learn from it. The only time failure is truly failure is when you fail to learn from your mistakes. And that's where I hope Hoyoverse and Genshin Impact succeed, is that they learn from the failure of 3.7. If they don't learn anything, then this update was truly a failure.
Satisfied and wanted me to construct and try to improve the game is just completely frowned upon. It's so strange, in my opinion.
Okay. So that was this video by crap, I gotta remember their name again. Genshin News. Like I said, definitely check out Genshin News. Definitely check out Tectone. I will post the links for these videos, the original video from Genshin News and the original video from Tectone in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me and checking out the video. Definitely hit that like and subscribe button. And like I said, definitely check out Genshin News and Tectone. They're definitely cool people, definitely informative. Tectone is always Tectone. I'll leave it at that. That guy is either you love him or you hate him type of dude. I like the dude. I don't always agree with him, but I always do find places where I do agree with him. I always am 50-50 with Tectone, but I always definitely like hearing his opinions. So 100% check Genshin News and Tectone out. Hit that like and subscribe button down below. Look forward to my next stream where I will discuss where I've been and what's been going on with me. So tune into my next stream. Thank you guys so much for hanging out, and I'll catch you guys later.